Imagine your favorite vacation destination, sitting in a nice chair in the sun by the Mediterranean Sea, watching these beautiful white homes with the blue roofs. I'm talking about Greece, I'm talking about Santorini. And guys, this is bad news for the area. I mean, we do have a volcanic arc there anyways, with quite a few volcanoes, but underneath one volcano, an underwater volcano that is very, very dangerous, can produce dangerous eruptions and tsunamis. Now the scientists have discovered a rapidly growing, fast filling magma chamber. Basically, they call it a surprise magma chamber that is growing under a Mediterranean volcano. And what am I talking about? I am talking about Columbus, an underwater volcano. A new study has used a novel imaging technology for volcanoes that produces high resolution pictures of seismic wave properties. And we do have earthquakes here every day. Just today, another one in the higher magnitudes. And that's why this is so concerning. And this new study reveals that a large, previously undetected body of moving magma underneath the Columbo underwater volcano, that is an active underwater volcano near Santorini in Greece, is growing and filling up fast. And this presence of this magma chamber increases the chances of a future eruption. And the problem is, this is such a highly densely populated area, and Santorini itself, there's a caldera system that is kind of connected with Columbus. We will talk about this, and we will also talk about Santorini, a decade volcano, and what that means. So the researchers are now in an alarming stage, and they said real-time hazard monitoring stations need to be put up ASAP at this Columbus volcano to improve their estimations of when an eruption might be likely to occur. And in order for an eruption to occur, we need to have a few things present. And are they present there? You can guess. Why am I making this video? Guys, I'm taking you to Greece today, not in this RV, but virtually, so to speak, because there is something rumbling. And should we be worried that something's waking up? Because it's unusual what's happening, these earthquakes that are happening there every day. But let's get a little bit of an overview about what I'm talking about. Have you ever heard about the Santorini caldera? That is a large, mostly submerged caldera. So we're talking about an underwater volcano today, and it's located in the southern Aegean Sea. It's about 120 kilometers north of Crete in Greece. It's visible above the water only is basically the circular Santorini island group. So did you know that these islands were part of a caldera? Isn't it fascinating that so many areas in the world where tourists are flocking, you know, Naples and many, many other areas, they don't know that they're right on top of a volcano. You don't really think about this when you're swimming there, when you're boating or vacationing there. So the Santorini island group consists of Santorini, in classic Greek that's called Terra, and the main island, Terasia and Asprosini, and then the Kameni Islands at the center. And it has been designated as a decade volcano. What are decades volcanoes? We should talk about this because this is important to know. There's 16 decade volcanoes that have been identified by the International Association of Volcanology and Chemistry of the Earth's Interior. So that was long. The shortcut is IAVCEI. And these 16 volcanoes are worthy of particular study in light of their history of large destructive eruptions and proximity to densely populated areas. So now you know why I'm making this video and what we're talking about. So there is a project that says the Decade Volcano Project. encourages studies. So they want the scientists to get into depth with these volcanoes. And on the other side, they want to create more public awareness activities right at these volcanoes so that people know about it. So the whole aim of this is to achieve a better understanding of these volcanoes and especially the dangers that they present. And on the other hand, they're hoping that they would be able to present or to reduce the severity of natural disasters by this. Why are they named decade volcanoes? It's just simply because the project was initiated in the 1990s and it was part of the United Nations sponsored International Decade of Natural Disaster Reduction Program. So quickly, a volcano may be designated as a decade volcano if it exhibits more than one volcanic hazard, more than one. People living near the decade volcanoes may experience, therefore, tephra that are volcanic particles, or pyroclastic flows, lava flows, lahars, basically volcanic landslides, volcanic instability, and lava dome collapse. And they have to show recent geological activity, and they need to be located in densely populated areas. And they have to show recent geological activity, and they need to be located in densely populated areas. So they say eruptions at any of these decade volcanoes may threaten tens of thousands of people, and therefore mitigating the hazards at these volcanoes is crucial, and that's why they have done that. So the Santorini caldera is quite large. It measures about 12 by 7 kilometers, that's 7.5 by 4.3 miles, with 300 meters or 980 feet in high, and it has steep cliffs on 3 sides, and it has a maximum depth of 385 meters, that's 1,263 feet. Gosh, these geese, the Canadian geese, why did they follow me from Canada? They're everywhere. And I tell you, the poop of these geese here is basically everywhere. Everything's covered in geese poop. It's not really very nice, especially if you want to walk the doggies here. So the volcanic complex of Santorini is the most active part of the South Aegean volcanic arc, and includes active volcanoes of Metana on the mainland of Greece, then Milos, Santorini, and Nisyros. And how was this formed, or what is it? It's formed by the subduction of the African tectonic plate underneath the Aegean subplate of the Eurasian tectonic plate. And they're moving at a rate, so this subduction is happening at a rate of about 5 centimeters per year in a northeasterly direction. And of course, this subduction, if it's moving, it's of course causing earthquakes. And these earthquakes are happening, most of these subduction earthquakes are happening at a depth of 150 to 170 kilometers. But something else is happening there. Santorini, it's a stunning island in the southern Aegean Sea, and it's known for its iconic whitewashed buildings and mesmerizing sunsets. So if you think of Greece, you're often thinking of Santorini. That's what people have in mind, but it's not, unfortunately, just a serene tourist destination. It is also a dynamic volcanic system with a powerful and dangerous history and a powerful and dangerous future potentially. And what is the recent activity and discoveries? And that's why I'm making this video. The geological systems of Santorini have been active in recent months, and that has raised concerns about a potential reawakening of this monstrous volcanic system. So the seismic activity is concerning. That's what's happening right now. There's a series of small but notable earthquakes has been recorded recently, and that's what's unusual. So in October 2024, we had magnitudes of 2.7 to 2.9 near Columbo and Santorini. And then in November 2024, we had earthquakes ranging from 1.9 to 2.8, including one on November 28th, a magnitude 2.1 quake at a depth of 37 kilometers, 4.5 kilometers northeast of Santorini. And November 8th, a significant 2.8 quake at 7-kilometer depth, 7 kilometers northeast of Santorini. So this is not tectonic most likely because it's not so deep. So if it's more shallow, and the scientists are worried right now that these earthquakes are an indication that magma is rising up. So that is not good. Absolutely not good. So it still could be tectonic stress adjusting in the area, but if it's the other thing, the magma rising up, we all know what that means, especially if you've been following my channel for a while. Why are they thinking it's magma? Because they have discovered a magma chamber. So they have done geophysical imaging, and it has confirmed the presence of a rapidly expanding magma chamber beneath Columbo. Rapidly expanding. That means this magma chamber is rapidly filling with magma, and that magma is coming from a deeper magmatic source. We just have an eruption in Iceland. If you followed my videos there's a shallow magma chamber underneath the Svartsengi power plant and the tourist attraction, the Blue Lagoon, at a depth of only 4 kilometers. And that is being filled, I show you the graphic here, by a deeper magma reservoir. And the reservoir, that is also probably being caused by the tectonic plates moving away from each other in Iceland. Magma's rising up in the more shallow magma reservoir, and once the magma reservoir, the shallow one, has reached the maximum capacity, it triggers an eruption. And that's why this is really concerning, that they have found this magma chamber and that it's rapidly expanding, because that tells us it's filling up. And where is it? And I told you it's an underwater volcano. So it's located only 2 to 4 kilometers under the seafloor. And now you might think, oh, underwater volcano, is that a problem? Oh, yes, guys, it is a problem. So Columbo is now, and that's what the scientists are saying, a significant threat to the region, because it seems magma is accumulating very, very fast at this volcano. So, of course, they can't tell us when this thing is going to erupt, because they don't know what the capacity of this shallow magma chamber is. So they say, well, it could erupt within the next 150 years, though small eruptions could happen even sooner. But they could be totally wrong, right? We know that. So, in order to kind of have a hint that a volcanic eruption might be imminent, we need a few things. Ground deformation. Is there a ground uplift? That's a sign that something's filling up underneath. Are there the earthquakes, right? So let's talk about the ground deformation on this underwater volcano. Satellite and GPS data reveal that there are subtle shifts in the terrain, possibly caused by magma moving beneath the surface. So there is a land rise present. What about the gas emissions and the hydrothermal activity? Increased emissions have been spotted of sulfur dioxide and heightened hydrothermal activity around Columbo. So this is further evident of a magmatic process. And that's why all this together, it is concerning. If you've watched my Campi Flegrei videos, we know the same thing is present there. The earthquakes, the land rise, and the geothermal activity. Whole Santorini, and we have to be clear about this, this island is a volcanic relic formed by multiple by centuries of multiple eruptions. Columbo had an eruption in 1650, for example. This was a violent underwater eruption, and that has caused pyroclastic flows and a tsunami and the emission of toxic gases, wiping out 70 people. But at that time, there were not so many people, probably like we have now. And don't forget the tsunami, because if these underwater volcanoes, then they collapse, they form calderas. This is causing massive tsunamis if things go really wrong. So we have the combination of the earthquakes and that growing Columbo magma chamber. So we could say, let's say the earthquakes are coming from tectonic stress. The region as a whole could experience volcanic or tectonic events in the near future. Both is not great. The Santorini caldera could reawaken, bad. If magma intrudes into the caldera system, a renewed volcanic activity could result in explosions, in lava flows, and in significant ash emissions. So what about a Columbo eruption? A Columbo eruption could trigger tsunamis that would impact all the surrounding islands and the coastal regions, pyroclastic flows that would devastate marine and coastal ecosystems, gas releases harmful to human health and marine life. What are the earthquake risks that come with this? So the ongoing seismic activity that we're seeing could also signal the tectonic stress potentially leading to larger earthquakes if it's tectonic. These tectonic movements can really cause bad earthquakes. And then we could see these tectonic earthquakes and the independent volcanic activity. So they could even see both. Would you think of something like this when you think about Greece? These white homes with the blue windows. Global impacts. It would have global impacts. And I have to be careful what I say now, because my last video where I was only talking about ice core samples in Antarctica that are conducted by the University of Washington, where they have proven large volcanic eruptions that have led to the opposite of sweating. I can't even say it. My video got demonetized. So crazy as this world today is. So large eruptions can inject volcanic aerosols into the atmosphere, and they, how do I word this, can make it very, very cold temporarily, right? Like making it, it's so ridiculous. Can I say cool it? It's probably a problem already. So you know what I mean. Cooling the thing, not the weather, the other thing with the letter C. So I have to be really careful. Really, trust me, guys, it's ridiculous. I can show you that my video was demonetized talking about ice core samples. And then I really, by the way, I got in trouble because this video, that it was proven that is because of that it was demonetized and considered harmful for advertisers. And so then you get the hammer right away. Now every video that I upload there, I have to wait for 30 minutes because they're checking my video if it's suitable for advertisers and that there's not harmful content. Again, that just on a side note, guys, this is what you're dealing with as a YouTuber on a daily basis. There's so much stuff I tell you. So if these volcanic aerosols are in the atmosphere, this can really have a big impact, right? If you want to grow, for example, agriculture and weather patterns can change. And if it's getting too cold, it's really hard to grow. And if stuff is covered with ashes, and volcanoes have produced these periods, sometimes very long periods, where it was really like you needed to put on your jacket and even more. So it wasn't really livable, right? So it's always dangerous. And the authorities are taking this serious because they're developing emergency plans and they're trying to educate the public on evacuation routes, ashfall protection, and of course, tsunami preparedness. So basically similar to what's happening with Campi Flegrei in Italy, in the greater Naples area, Pozzuoli. If you're interested in that, check out my playlist, Volcanic Activity in Italy, or the Campi Flegrei playlist, a potential supervolcano. The whole Santorini caldera is basically a candidate for future eruptions, but Columbo especially is the most dangerous one right now that poses a greater immediate risk. That's what the scientists are saying. So that large magma chamber has been growing since the last eruption of Columbo in 1650. So what they're saying is it has been growing at an average rate of roughly 4 million cubic meters per year since the last eruption. And they're saying that the total volume of magma that has accumulated in this magma reservoir beneath Columbo is 1.4 cubic kilometers, not meters. And that is a lot compared to the magma chamber that we're dealing with in Iceland right now. That is causing these eruptions all the time. And a big population center in Santorini, Greece is located only 7 kilometers, that's 4 miles away from this volcano. And we know underwater volcanoes can produce massive tsunamis. And Columbo is found at a relatively shallow part of the Mediterranean Sea at around 500 meters. That's only 1,600 feet of depth. And according to current estimations, that location is likely to enhance Columbo's explosivity. And then the tsunami and a eruptive column tens of kilometers high with large amounts of ashfall are predicted should there be an eruption occurring at Columbo. So guys, it's almost 4 o'clock here. I was just editing this video and then I realized, for whatever reason, never happened to me, I forgot to film my outro during the day when I filmed this video. So now I'm here editing and I don't have an end to the video. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this right now. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. And thanks so much, guys, for your support. You hear him snoring in the background. That's Apollo, my sick dog that has a mouth tumor. And you guys have so awesome supporting me to be able for somehow pay for his vet bills that are absolutely crazy. I'm over $10,000 so far, and there's probably 15,000 more that are coming for the radiation therapy. That's why I'm in an RV here, because we had to travel to the US because it's cheaper here. So thanks so much for the coffees you buy me on my buymeacoffee.com website. They have a new feature. I can answer you now with live videos, so I can send you a video answer, only 30 seconds. That's what they allow, but it's great to be able to do that. And thanks so much for your supers here, for sharing my videos, and for just being here and, you know, writing these beautiful comments. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I see you soon. Bye bye.